She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Thanks so much for joining us. You know, that certain day of the year is right around the corner. And maybe right now you just went, oh no! Or maybe you have that day all perfectly planned out. Or you might be one of those people that hates that day. Valentine's Day. Showing love to the people you love, right? Here on the Dani Johnson Show, we bring you topics every day to help you improve your life, to defy the status quo of success, to go in the opposite direction of what we're watching everybody else doing. Why? Because 98% of the population ends up dead or dead broke at the age of 65, dependent on their family, friends, and federal government for their main source of income. So if all you do is look at how they're going to do Valentine's Day and you do the exact opposite, well, by golly, friend, you are now walking on the path of 2% of the population who ends up financially independent. It's these small little things, and it's the holidays like Valentine's Day, or like what we just came through with Christmas, or like the New Year. All the wonderful excuses that we all have, including Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, Halloween, like all of these days that the marketers have done such a great job of marketing to us intensely. To get our future retirement out of our pockets and into theirs, to get our dream vacation out of our pocket and into theirs, to get our kids' college tuition out of our pockets and into theirs, to get those long-waited vacations out of our pockets and into theirs. But not you, friend. You are not called to live like a 98%er, so what are we going to do today? We are going to hit this Valentine's Day thing head on. We are going to talk to each other about different ways to show love without breaking the bank. Because check this out. Just last year's numbers, according to ABC News, they reported that Americans spent $18.2 billion last year on Valentine's Day. Wait till you hear about the breakdown. $4.3 billion on jewelry. Whoa. So you know those jewelry store guys are totally ramping up all of their marketing right now, aren't they? Oh, yes. $2 billion on flowers. Oh, $2 billion on flowers, $1.7 billion on chocolate. And it's not even good chocolate. It's that waxy, cheap crap that's at Walgreens and Walmart. Blech. Listen, I'm not a chocolate lover, so I can say that. I'm not a chocolate lover at all. But this is also not including the amount spent on cards, which I would love to know that number. Maybe we can find that number out. On cards, how much was spent on cards, and the date, like staying out in a hotel, or going out to a nice dinner, whatever other extra thing, or maybe somebody turned it into a weekend, like the weekend before they go off for a long-waited weekend or the weekend after. So those billions, 18.2 billion that I just shared with you, doesn't include any of that. How crazy is that, right? Oh, it's crazy. Wild. So we asked this question of our audience. What are some creative ways to show love without breaking the bank? I cannot wait for us to have this discussion because I happen to be one of those people not so creative. Creativity is just not, when God knitted me together in my mother's womb, He put in analyzer instead of creative. So all of my creativity shows up in the kitchen, and it is largely because I won't throw anything away, and I'll create a recipe when I'm missing something. Okay, so that's the only creativity that comes out of Dani Johnson. But there are those people. I have some friends that, man, just creativity. It's like they are completely connected to heaven, to the creator of the heavens and the earth, and bam, just everything they do is creative. I have a son like that. Mama, no. Analytical. So on that note, I want to analyze cheap ways to show love to my husband, Hans. My 5 children are grown, 4 of which are married, got 8 grandkids. How can we express love in a different way without breaking the bank? So important. So important. So we're going over to Lori Hodge. She's going to be the first one to share with us from New York. Come on, Lori, tell me, how do you guys do it?
Hey, Dani. We always celebrate Valentine's Day just at home. We like to do it with our kids. I've got 6 kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
But we do red dinner. We have a red dinner. We have red Jell-O, red Kool-Aid, pink strawberry cream cheese on bagels, red meatballs on pasta. Nice. And it's something the kids, we do it every single year. We've been doing it for years and years. Our kids love it.
Do they? Okay, now how does the husband feel about this?
Oh, he's totally on board.
So you're not breaking the bank with the red Jell-O?
No. Not at all. We don't do the typical going out to dinner kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so Lori, I have another question. Now, Valentine's is, again, I think it's a great day to really focus and show love to the people that we love. Now, what are you doing for your husband? Because that sounds like this is more of the kid thing, and yes, it's a nice dinner for the husband too, but are you going to wear a red teddy? After you put the kids, after you put the 6 kids to bed, does mom and dad have a date after the family date?
Honestly, we don't usually. We just have a nice dinner all together, and that's kind of it.
Oh, well, what if you surprise your husband this time? You don't even have to get a red teddy. But what you could get that you probably already have, because a mom of 6, very similar to a mom of 5, you got to be super efficient with things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so are you one of those that when the kids get gifts, do you save all the paper and the wrapping bags?
The bags.
Yeah, I keep the paper.
Yeah.
I just iron that thing out with my hands. I fold it up. I have it in a nice little basket. Everything's all just ready for the next cycle. The kids make fun of me sometimes, I had that bag last year. Thanks for that note. I'll make sure I'll give you a different one next year. But anyway, so we always have a little bit of ribbon left from something, right? Do you have any ribbon left from something?
Yeah, always.
Okay, why don't you wrap yourself in a red ribbon? And invite your husband back to the chamber, the bridal chamber, and completely adore him in every way. Maybe even tell him how much you love him, what you love about him, how much you appreciate how hard he is working for the family. Maybe just lavish him. Maybe even a red note card. The kids have construction paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have red construction paper?
I have red paper, yes.
You can write out a nice little note, put it on his pillow, and then come out wrapped up in a ribbon. Just a thought.
He'd probably like that.
You think? And it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything, but it shows that you put extra thought into that day and that your relationship with him is more important than the ones with the kids. That you actually put that extra little pizzazz into thinking about him alone as the husband, the lover, and the father of the family.
I love that idea. I do. I love that idea.
And you already have everything you need. You have you, which is his bride. You have the bed. You have construction paper and ribbon. It'll shock him, and he will love that it costs no money, but it did take your time, effort, and to pretty yourself up for him that night.
All right.
Let me know how it goes, baby.
All right, will do.
All right. I want to hear the fireworks from here.
Okay.
All right. God bless you, Lori. Thank you so much for sharing about the red dinner. I appreciate that. I love that, and it's so sweet. It's a nice, to me, that's a sweet thing for the kids to even look forward to. I think it's really awesome. The kids, meaning the red dinner part, yes. And maybe she could have the red dessert for her husband. She's a special little dessert for him. Okay, we've got Lorene Stoltzman from Ohio. Lorene, what about you? What about you and your family? How do you guys do this?
Hi, Dani. We don't do much in the line of celebrating, actually. We put more focus on our everyday life and having that be a lot of fun and focus on each other. But we do like to, maybe once a year or twice, it just depends. We'll go to a nearby city for a night. We'll go to a local grocery store and just pick out some food, spread out the foods over the hotel bed and have a picnic, and then usually end with a night of lots of married fun.
Lots of marital exercise.
Exactly.
God's original exercise plan. No dumbbells needed.
Exactly.
Both parties come fully equipped with a gym.
No chocolate, no carbs, don't even need the teddy.
No. But, there's something special about having a time that is set apart. So I want to challenge you in this, because my husband and I do what you were talking about throughout the year, several times a year. In fact, I travel, obviously, for my career, and he travels for his. And so whenever we come back after being away from each other, whether it's a few nights or it's a week or something, we always have a night in a hotel room, which is free because we use our points that we earn from hotels. It's a free night. But there's something about doing something that is set apart. And largely, the whole point of this Valentine's Day thing, which I know there's all kinds of history with it and lots of different opinions about it. And I'm one largely to not buy in to anything that is over-marketed. And Valentine's Day, all the holidays are over-marketed. So to me, it's a financial trap. And again, all we have to do is look at what 98% of the population is doing and do the exact opposite. So 98% of the population is going to spend $18 billion this year on Valentine's Day. And they might end up fighting at the end of the night.
Yeah, because they spent money they didn't have.
Exactly.
It could have been for something else.
Exactly. So do this. But there's something important about setting apart a certain day. There's all this anticipation leading up for Valentine's Day, right? And so I remember just going, you know what? No, don't do anything. Let's not do anything. It's just spending money. It doesn't make any sense. But yet you still got that little hidden thing in the back of your heart. One of you do have this hidden thing. Like, I wonder if. Why? Because it's in the air. It's in the air. It's the same as what happens, Lorene, for the people who are single. They hate Valentine's Day. Do you know that there are some people that send themselves Valentine's flowers to their office?
Aww.
Because they want someone to think that they're loved. Yeah. Isn't that nuts? I actually talked to a woman one day who told me that she did that she sends herself flowers and she sends herself chocolates. And I was like, wow. Terrific.
It is important to set that aside. I know that's something we probably could use a little bit of work on that department.
Setting it apart, right?
Special.
Yeah. That's what I was talking to the other lady about, that come on, like you set yourself apart. We have a tendency of making things so much about kids when we got kids, and we kind of forget that marital relationship, or it's just kind of only by an urge that we remember the marriage relationship.
Yeah.
We gotta invest in it. So I want to ask you, what could you do on this Valentine's Day? I mean, it's right around the corner. What could you do that would surprise your husband that doesn't cost any money?
Probably would. I've never done this. This is crazy.
Okay, hold on. Before you get into any details, we got to take a quick break. I want to hear the juicy details in just one moment. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Now imagine that Dani just asked you that question. What would you say? Stay right here for more of The Dani Johnson Show. More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what poverty-stricken families are dealing with in Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic needs of food, clean water, and safe housing. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming Nicaragua. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Nicaragua. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation That's kingsransom.org. kingsransom.org.
Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. The most common question I get usually are from people who are trying to juggle their life. They've got kids who are involved in all kinds of activities. They've got business or their job, finances, trying to get out of debt, plus all their church activities and all the volunteer activities. And they're pulling their hair out going, how do I juggle this all? Man, I once lived just like that until I learned Time Secrets. Time Secrets showed me how to be able to cut my hours from 100 hours a week that I was working down to 20 hours a week and tripled my income as a direct result with what I learned. Time Secrets also showed me how to get my priorities in order, which healed up my marriage. And I became a mother that I was proud of versus becoming the mother I didn't want to be. And so if you feel like your world is running around in all kinds of different circles, you can fix that. Call 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880 for Time Secrets.
Faith, hope, love, and sometimes a good swift kick. You'll find them all here. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
You know, some people get depressed around Valentine's Day, because it's kind of this thing. There's love in the air. And if you're single and or you've got a toxic relationship, Valentine's Day stinks. You're not looking forward to it. But yet, there's something deep down inside of you that wants to be honored, that wants to be remembered. One of the ways that you can combat that altogether, because again, I heard about a woman once doing a show on Valentine's Day that she called in and she said, you know what, I'm single. You know what I do? I send myself a dozen red roses and I send myself some C's candy. And I said, why do you do that? She goes, because I don't want anyone to know that I'm not loved. I was like, whoa, Joe, dang. That's a whole nother level. That's a whole nother level. So look, what I'm saying is this. You have an opportunity to flip the tables on Valentine's Day. In fact, let's flip them twice. Let's flip that Valentine's Day that is trying to get you to spend another $18 billion, you to be one of the 98%ers that are out there that ends up dead or dead broke, to spend $18 billion after you just made this huge commitment to paying off your debt, after you made this huge commitment of losing weight, after you made this huge commitment of cutting down on excess stupid spending, and here they are with those pink cards with the heart shape on it. Come on, buy me, buy this chocolate. It's on sale, 2 for 1. You could buy these roses for X amount of price. Here, you can get this card. It's only $5. How special is the person that you love, right? So you've got this internal battle, right? Like, gosh, I love my spouse, but we have all this debt. We can't afford it. Hey, spending money is not the only way to get the job done, friend. In fact, you have access to everything that is free, that you already have, yourself being one of them. And how you can utilize this great gift to bring greatness to a night, to set it apart, to make it special, to make it different. Well, Lorraine is with me right now. She's about to share what she could do with this holiday. Come on, girl, give me the juicy details.
All right. Well, this is something, we're married almost 13 years, and we don't have any children yet at this point. And I've never done this, and I think it'd be so much fun, is meet him at the door wrapped in a bow or something fun.
Yes.
I'm not sure exactly what I would do, but, you know, I can create something.
That you already have in the house. Right?
Pardon?
Yes, you can wrap yourself in a bow. You can make yourself, wrapped up in a ribbon with some high heels and say, "Hi, honey. I love you." That will shock him.
Exactly.
And you have no kids, so there's nothing stopping you from doing that.
Exactly.
You got to let me know how it goes.
I've done that before. Yeah.
You have to let me know how it goes. I want to know. The deal is done, Dani.
It is time.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And that is something.
Wait till Valentine's.
No, because then it won't be special.
Wait
till Valentine's Day. Wait till Valentine's Day. In fact, this is what I want you to do between now and then, because you got a little bit of time. I want you to put some thought about other things that you could do that don't cost anything. Like what's some specific words that you could put on his pillow? Right? Mm-hmm. What are some specific text messages that you could give him that day? Maybe there's a couple selfies that you could just be sending him that day. Or maybe you're silent all day and then he gets just slammed with this beautiful bride that he took to be his wife 13 years ago, and he's just shocked. Yeah. Right? So really thinking, like, you have time to strategize this entire thing. And he will not have a clue until he sees it. He opens the door and bam, there you are. I love it. I think that's a great idea. You better write it down, set an appointment for yourself, make sure he can't find it, and put a lot of thought into this, like preparing yourself as a bride all over again for him. And maybe even that could be a night that the two of you talk about the day you first met. There you go. Aww. And how you both were feeling. Oh, gosh, Hans and I have done that so many times. It stirs up all those feelings again. Even though he was 18 and I was 22. It's like a lifetime ago. But it's still, gets things going. I'll just say that. Yeah. Just gets things going. The best. It is clearly 100% the best. Okay, thanks, Lorene, so much for sharing your ideas. I appreciate that. Hey, listen, I don't know if you heard, but do you want to hear more ideas like more intensely like this? You want the marriage or whoever it is that you're in a relationship with to be the best Valentine's Day ever? We're doing a marriage webinar February 5th, Monday, February 5th. Okay, listen up. That's today. Okay, that's today. If you go to the website, DaniJohnson.com right now, you can go ahead and click on events, and that's where you're going to find the webinar. If you go to the website, you're going to find that webinar. It is a free webinar. Come to that webinar open-hearted, open-minded. We want to help that love relationship on a budget be incredible. Not just for one day, but for the whole year. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more ideas on a great Valentine's Day on a budget right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need. Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
My name is Andris and I'm from Latvia. Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was a struggling English teacher back home. I had a language school that I started when I was 21 and had grown it to be pretty okay in my city. But at the same time, I had acquired a debt of $60,000. In a matter of 8 to 9 months, I got rid of my debt, and by 2011, we had our first $1 million year. This has been amazing. We grew our school from about 100 students to 2,000 students, and I can only highly recommend for you to come to the next event and be part of this community and learn the tools that will help you to succeed.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, my family and I were hemorrhaging under the pressures of debt. Since attending First Steps to Success in January of 2014, my family and I have paid off over $147,000 in 19 months. We're completely consumer debt-free. We have restored relationships, and our business is growing at a rate of 15% at every event. Your next step is to sign up for the next First Steps to Success and start creating your own story.
My name is Jeff Conyers, and prior to First Steps to Success, I was a struggling business owner. I had discovered that my business account went negative $5,000 $50,000, and I realized that I did not have a business plan and I needed to do something. Fast forward to 1 year after, I have now created, just by implementing the tools at First Step to Success, over $50,000, created another business, improved my personal and business relationships. Man, it's like the story is forever changing, and it just gets better and better. I don't know about you or what you're going through, but I would highly recommend getting to First Steps to Success.
Prior to plugging into First Steps to Success, we were drowning under a mountain of debt. We were heading to divorce court. We had failing businesses and toxic relationships. Since plugging into First Steps to Success, our marriage has been restored. We have paid off over $56,000 in 11 months. We've helped our community pay off over $300,000 in 14 months. My business has grown in over 600% in 4 months. And for the first time, I could say I'm just loving life. I have great relationships. So if you are fine where you are, then this event is not for you. But if you're ready to reach your goal and to change your life, then I highly recommend that you get registered for the next event.
Hi, my name is Jill Kearns. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. Prior to coming to First Steps to Success, my husband and I were struggling financially and were hurting in our relationship a lot. We needed more time together, and we just were struggling with that because of the finances. And so since plugging in, we've actually paid off over $280,000 in debt. We're completely debt-free, and more than anything else, the look on my husband's face of relief and excitement about where our future lies, and the traveling and the fun, enjoyable times that we'll get to spend together as a family is totally worth it. So if you want to have better relationships with your significant other, your children, if you have a desire to be completely debt-free and released from that bondage for whatever reason, whatever the burdens are, your next step is to get to First Steps to Success right now.
So prior to getting started to DaniJohnson.com, I was a college dropout. I was working a bottom-of-the-barrel type job. I started plugging into her training. I've skyrocketed through the ranks of corporate America. I've tripled my income in the last 5 years. That's all fine and dandy, but it wasn't, there's a part of me that had a part missing, so I ended up using Dani's prospecting skills, and I ended up meeting the love of my life. Since then, we've paid off $32,000 of debt since October 2014. So get here now. This is the greatest thing ever. You have to see this. The skills and strategies Dani teaches are unbelievable. They totally took someone like me with no education and helped me just like multiply my efforts. So you need to be here.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
You know what? You've got a very important day here on the horizon. And either you're going to do it the way everybody else is doing it, or you're going to find out how everyone's doing it and you're going to do the opposite of it. You're like, what are you talking about, Dani? Come on. You know that day, Valentine's Day, that puts all this pressure on you to buy a card, some chocolate, and some flowers? Yeah, or to buy some big piece of jewelry, or to buy who knows what. It's a spending trap for many. For others, it's a time of depression. Whichever side of the block you find yourself on, whether it's a depressing day or it's a day of pressure, let's do something different. Let's find a way, without maybe spending any money, on how to make it more special than a greeting card. Come on. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, they say, check this out, that 65% of the people show love through a greeting card. Hello, really? Really? Through a greeting card. Listen, 98% of the population ends up dead or dead broke by the age of 65. Dependent on their family, friends, and federal government for their main source of income. Listen to me. All you have to do is look at how 98% of the population goes into their holidays, into these promoted days, these set-apart days, and do the opposite. You can show love without spending a dime. In fact, the time that it takes to do it means more than what we spent on a card anyway. In fact, I got to tell you this. This is an amazing thing that my husband did. that I loved. For one of my birthdays, no, it was actually our anniversary. For our anniversary one year, he has a little tiny yellow lined pad, right? So it's a little pad, they're just ugly. You get them at Office Depot or Walmart or whatever. Just a little notepad, right? And it's just yellow paper, lined paper, okay? And he took about, I don't know, maybe it was 7 of them. And so they're little tiny pieces of paper, and he wrote and drew a little picture that went with what he wrote. And just like a couple little lines of something like really, really sweet. In fact, I think I want to go get them because I keep them in my purse. And anyway, and this was like 2 years ago that he did this. Look, I'm still talking about it. I'm still talking about it. Now, yes, he's bought me pearls before, and yes, he's bought me other things, but none of those things, none of them, none. Not my big strand of pearls from Bora Bora. No. What has stood out to be so special was all of these little notes that he handed me. And so he just gave me one at a time throughout the entire day. He melted me. The whole day, I was melted by him. And some of them were cute and funny. One of them had a heart with an arrow going through the middle with an H and D, Hans and Danny, on it. And again, you open it up and oh my gosh, I was in tears and in joy and felt so loved, so cared for, so special that day. And how much did it cost him? Nothing. Maybe a penny? With 7 little pieces of paper? It might have been a penny. It might not have even been a penny. And if it was just the one, that was really sweet. But then he kept going. And then, like, for example, we were out somewhere and I got up to go to the bathroom. I came back and there it was right in front of me again. Right? Or he had one just flip off in my lap as we were in the car somewhere. Listen to me. That cost nothing. But that meant so much to me. Some of it was silly. Some of it was funny. Some of it was really heartfelt with some really powerful words. But he literally and by the way, how did he get the idea? He prayed and he was asking God, what can I do so special for my bride? He asked his father, who knows his wife. And he knew exactly what to write inside of those little pieces of paper. So anyway, all I know is that gave him a great day and night. It gave me a great day and night too. We got Cassie Perkle from Georgia. What are you going to do this holiday or whatever, Valentine's Day, to not blow a bunch of cash like everybody else is? What will you do that is special instead?
Hey, Dani, I think that the sweetest way is to write a handwritten letter like you were talking about. Write what you appreciate about them and what you're thankful for that they do, or be sexy and flirtatious, or, say you're looking forward to that evening and what you're going to do together. I just think that that's the best way. And we do that really throughout the year. Like, he has a special milk that he drinks, and I'll write, love you on it or something, and just leave notes on the mirror, like, can't wait to see you tonight, or, things like that, just to kind of keep the flirtiness there. And because really, if you just wait till Valentine's Day, then it's really not that special if you're not showing it throughout the entire year.
Yep, I agree with that. And sometimes it's too late to just show it on Valentine's Day. But what can you do to make that day even more set apart? Because you're already doing it right, girlfriend, as you're doing this throughout the year. But what can you do on Valentine's Day to make it even more set apart?
I'm not sure, because I've tried to just kind of keep things really alive, and all the time. And I don't think it's, about buying things. And
yeah, no, it's not. It's not about buying things, but there's got to be something that you can do.
A special dinner that he likes, and going, because that's the way to most men's heart is through food. And I think that there's certain meals that he really likes more than others, and so maybe I'll ask him, what he wants special that night and make that.
Let's say you don't ask him. Don't ask him. Surprise him. So here's what we do in our house, like for birthdays, for example. So, and since you're talking about food, and food really matters to him, and he enjoys certain meals better than others. Okay, so if you just kind of get in a casual conversation that if you could have the last meal ever on the planet, what would it be? Right?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yes, to ask him, get to know him more, right? And like, if you could only have one more dessert ever, one more time ever in your whole life, what would your choice be? And so just get into this casual conversation. I was thinking the other day, I actually heard something on the radio one day, and I just kind of had this question, like, yeah, I think I want to ask my husband that. So I just want to ask you, what would you say to that? You know, if you were alone on a deserted island and you had lost all of your favorite foods, what would be the one request you would make? Find out what that is.
Good idea.
And you could make that day set apart by what you're going to make him that night, or even like what his favorite lunch food is. What we do on birthdays is that I always cook the requested meal and the requested dessert, because some of our kids didn't like cake, you know, so it wasn't a cake every single time. And, you know, some of them liked ice cream sundaes. Some of them like Roman lemon meringue pie, which takes me like hours to make. So, or Hans, who has 5 favorite desserts. Like, awesome. He wants a triple chocolate cake. He wants an apple crisp. He wants lemon bars. Everything's from scratch. The list goes on of all the wonderful things he wants to eat. He's got a major sweet tooth. But those are sweet little things that can be done. You know what I mean? I got to tell you this funny story, something that he did with me. And we did this back and forth with each other. Okay, Cassie, I have a terrible confession to make. I like purple Skittles. I really like the Skittles that are in the purple bag. The purple bag, they're all berry. It's called wild berry Skittles. So you know what he did one time? He took a bag of Skittles. Now, mind you, that I have this commitment, no sugar for 30 days and nothing but water, no beverage besides water, right? That's what the two of us are doing. So this one time, as I was like intensely on this program where it's like, I'm going to cut my body fat. I want to be healthy. I want to get sexy again for my husband. And he opens up a bag of Skittles and he puts them in my shoe as I'm leaving town. So they're in the shoes that I'm taking to another city with me. Okay? And I'm heading to a First Steps to Success. And they're my favorite Skittles. So he puts them in my shoe. So literally, I'm getting dressed the morning for First Steps to Success, going to go put myself in front of 1,000 people. I pick up my shoe. I stick my foot in. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's something in my shoe. I dump it out, and it's Skittles. Like,
oh my goodness.
So does your husband have a favorite candy like that? Or a favorite something that you could put in his shoe as he's getting ready for work, right? So mind you, we passed these Skittles back and forth for about 9 months.
Oh my goodness. Well, at least you didn't open them.
No, he did open them. He dumped the Skittles.
He poured them in?
He poured them in my shoe, not in the bag. He poured them in my shoe. So then I came home, and you know what I did, right? So we came up with the most creative places to put these Skittles, and it just made each other laugh.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, see, again, it's not that hard to do. And again, I'm not the creative one. He's the one that did this first. So then, you know, we kept it going. Like I was talking about before, he's the one that wrote that little note and left it in that secret little place and then kept handing them throughout the day. So then I retaliate, if you will. I respond, and I just keep doing it. But anyway, you can do that. That's what makes that day special. That's what makes that one set apart. That's what makes that one kind of keeps him guessing and wondering what's going to happen next. And wow, she thought of me, and she thought of me in a funny way. Everyone needs laughter, right? Laughter is medicine to the soul. So you could put whatever his favorite candy, if it's, you know, Starburst or whatever. You can put whatever, wherever. Yeah. Whatever it is. And if it's loose, you know, sweet candy like that, then that's easy. All right. Thanks so much for sharing. And I'm proud of you that you put time and effort into your relationship, at least on a weekly basis, of flirting with him and writing him love notes and stuff like that, which means you got to get a little more creative on his birthday and for Valentine's Day. And if he's a father, for Father's Day. All right. This is Dani Johnson. We are talking about ways to make that day, that Valentine's Day, special. We're talking about ways to make it special without spending money. You know, largely we reach for spending cash because we haven't spent any time really putting thought into other things that we could do that would be so much more meaningful. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Is Valentine's Day making you financially stupid? It doesn't have to. Find out how you can stay smart next on The Dani Johnson Show.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was working 60 to 75 hours a week. I was completely stressed out. I was incredibly angry with my husband. We were in over $350,000 worth of debt. By applying the strategies that Dani teaches, in the last 3.5 years, we have paid off $170,000 in debt. We are no longer roommates, and we no longer spend every single cent that we make. We now have made tens of thousands of dollars in passive income in investments. We are on the right track. We're traveling around the world together, and we are building homes for those who really need it. So I don't know about you, but if you want to cut back from 60 to 20 and 30 hours a week, if you want to mend some relationships, if you want to make your life more efficient and a lot more fun, and you want to be the best version of you, I highly recommend that you get registered because your life is about to change.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, First Steps to Success in Creating Dynasty, my wife and I were really lost. We were struggling in a relationship. We were struggling financially, drowning in debt. Our relationship was really broken. We were in a bad place. We were living in two completely different states and not really honoring each other. Once we got plugged into the community, we noticed a shift in our lives. Most importantly, we came together as a husband and wife. That was the first thing we did. And when we finally came together under the same roof, things started to change. Over the past 3 years, we've been able to pay off over $495,000 in debt. I know in my business, I've had a job created for me that increased my income by 50%. That has actually opened up the door to allow my wife and I to spend more time with each other. So I don't know where you are. I don't know if your relationship is super awesome. I don't know if your job is immaculate. I don't know if you're debt-free. But what I do know is if you're not any one of those things, your next step is to get plugged into DaniJohnson.com, go on the website, get plugged into the community. I promise you, your life will never be the same.
And prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was a broke college student, drowning in debt, and I felt like the world was crashing all around me, and I had bad relationships. Since plugging into DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, I was able to pay off $6,600 in 4 months. Now I'm able to give 10% of my income to wherever my heart desires. I actually, using the skills that I learned from Dani, I actually landed a job before I graduated college, and I'm able to travel the world. All I know is if you're serious about annihilating your debt, traveling the world, helping people, and having fun doing so, I highly recommend you get registered for the next First Steps to Success. Do it now, don't wait, don't even thinking about it. If you're ready to change your life, just do it.
We went to our first ever First Steps to Success just 10 weeks ago, and it has definitely been life-changing ever since.
We felt like we got hit by a 2x4, but it was the best 2x4 because what we realized is that our priorities were clearly out of line. I had been building a home-based business and had been working 80 to 100 hours, and I realized that that is not my role, and that I had actually taken my husband's, and it was that realization that something had to change, and we immediately went home and changed everything. There was no hesitation. We said, you know what, we need to be obedient to God.
And we've implemented the tools day one. We started implementing what Dani taught us, invested in ourselves, invested in our kids, got our priorities in line. We've now actually paid off just not quite $60,000 in debt and looking at a couple more investments here as head of the household.
It's been absolutely incredible. So I just encourage you, if any of this speaks to you, if you're wanting to get out of debt, if you're wanting better communication, if you're wanting to elevate to the higher level of life, get to First Steps to Success and plug into DaniJohnson.com.
The way you look at things is about to change. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hey, it's your turn right now to defy the status quo of success. You know, people decide whether or not they're loved based on how many gifts they get for Valentine's Day. Isn't that sad? That's shallow. That's not who you are. You are loved. regardless of what you get for Valentine's Day. What's more important than getting on Valentine's Day is giving love. And you don't have to spend a dime to give it. 98% of the population ends up dead or dead broke at the age of 65 for reasons like this. Because of the I'm entitled and if you love me, I deserve a new necklace. I used to be that broad. Thank God I am not anymore. You shouldn't be that broad or even that guy like, what you gonna get me? If you don't get me nothing, then you don't love me. No, there are other things that can be done that show love far better than a card. Like 65% of Americans are going to spend crazy amounts of money on cards this year. $18.2 billion is going to be spent this year on Valentine's Day with what? For what? Flowers, okay? Chocolate. Doesn't even include the eating out part of it. Man, it's ridiculous. So but think about this. What could you do to bring that special message of love? We've been talking about that the whole time on today's show. We've got Morris. I'm sorry, we're going to Morris first. McNeil, I love it. North Carolina. Tell me, this Valentine's Day, how are you going to do it?
Well, actually, showing love with a simple hug, simple kiss, basically from the heart to let the person know that you really care. Now, I agree, as far as buying gifts, that's pretty cool, too. But at the same time, you can show forth through, with your love, like with a hug, a simple hug or kiss would be, suffice.
But how do you set that apart? Because if you're in a marriage relationship or in a committed relationship, I'm sure those kinds of things should be happening at least on a daily basis. But what makes this kiss more special? How can you make that kiss more special? How can you make that hug more special?
Well, I mean, it's just sometimes in the way you do it. Sometimes, people give a little slight hug. Some people give like embracive hugs. At that time, an embracive hug to the point to where that the person can feel the love coming straight from you. Versus, like sometimes when you're hugging, you do it real fast because you're like in a hurry or whatever. Yeah. But hold on, Angelica Godwin.
So look at this. So here's one thing that I think that could be special about the hug, and I agree with you. Sometimes just a quick hug doesn't do it. But it's the 14th of February. What if there's 14 hugs that day? And what if the first one is said, that there's something special that you say? There's things that I can't believe I'm talking this much about Hans. As I think about it, he's quite the little romantic, isn't he? Anyway, so there's that time where it's set apart, so it's like, oh yeah, hi, love you, bye. No, where he just will hold me, look me in the eyes, and say something really sweet, like, I love touching your body. So would that make the hug more special? And not from a sexual, yes, I personally like the kind of sexual connotation, but some women don't. I happen to be Latin. That might have something to do with it. And I've dealt with my, being molested in the past and raped issues, so I don't bring that into my marriage. But the bottom line is that when he says things like that, I then give that same exchange to him. But it's allowing to shut everything out, everything out of your mind, everything out of your task list, just like shut it out, and be fully present for that hug. So it's a slow hug. It's a slow kiss. But here's how we can make it special for that day, set apart, because those happen every day in my house. Hans and I are in the house together. But here's something that can make that special. What if there's 14 that day? What if there's however many for the amount of time that you've been together? Well, Hans and I have been together for almost 27 years, so that would, I don't know if there's enough time in the day to do that, but you could do something like that. And then, or that there's one word that you love about that person as you're hugging them. When I think of one word of what I love about you, you give that one word and you give them a strong embrace. Words express love. Touch express love with no strings attached, more than anything else. Okay, we've got Scott from Oklahoma. Scott, what's your take on this Valentine's Day, spending money versus coming up with something creative instead?
Oh, hi, Dani. Yeah, I love your ideas. I think that is certainly a better way to do it, is doing something more meaningful for somebody. I refer to Valentine's Day, just so you know, as Singles Awareness Day. For me, It's a made-up holiday.
It's
a Hallmark call, holiday.
Yep.
I don't buy cards that have words on them. I do blank cards.
Yep.
If I am in a relationship, I write a special note, something meaningful that I want my partner to know about. And so, I really kind of cringe at this Valentine's Day dinner that everybody gets in a big lather about.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be a negative person. I just think
it's
important to show people every day how
Yes.
you feel about them and not just have a special day. I look at it as 3 days before my birthday. So,
Well, happy birthday. I love this. I love what you said. It's Singles Awareness Day.
Yeah. I wish I'd come up with that. I'd have made a big banner out of it or something. But I'm looking forward to First Steps next weekend. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
Oh, man, Scott, I'm looking forward to seeing you there. That's really sweet. Thanks for saying that. To be honest with you, I don't think I've ever really thought about that it's Singles Awareness Day. That's real. And I know that there's a lot of singles, or there's even people who are married who are in just horribly toxic relationships that are dreading Valentine's Day. And so also, come on, every single day we challenge you here on this show to really assess your definition of success. Is your definition of success being married and you're single, and because you're single, you're not successful? Oh, hooey, that's a joke. That can't be your definition of success. What about being a healthy, whole, confident single person who is able to be happy for those who are married, and that you're happy with where you're at? Because the bottom line is, if you're not comfortable with who you are, you'll not be comfortable in a marriage. Trust me. Oh my gosh, trust me. Okay, we got one more. We've got Crystal from Quebec, Canada. What say you about the holiday? Well, it's not really a holiday, but it's like a set apart kind of day of Valentine's Day. What are you going to do that's not going to break the budget?
So I think it's really important to listen to their needs and wants and desires, because it's so important to know that you are interested in somebody's interest. And my husband and I love to just have conversations when the kids are in bed and reflect on the day. And I also have a home business. I have 175 people on my team, and they come to me frequently just to, dive into things, and I can reflect with them on what we've spoken about before. So it really keeps the relationships.
But how do you make February 14th a set apart time for just your husband, to where those people that are on your team are not in your mind, to where the kids are not in your mind? Because on a daily basis, Crystal, you should be listening to the heart and the needs and the emotions of your husband. But how do you set it apart that day to make it so very different, to where he knows that you acknowledge his position in your life different than you acknowledge it on a daily basis? That you acknowledge how grateful you are that he is footing the bills, that he works hard every single day to put food on the table for everybody, that he's the protector of the home. This is the time to set it apart, to really hone in on the character traits of the man that you exchanged vows with, and to lift him up in a very special way. And it doesn't have to cost any money. It could even be that you and the kids make things together, that, just little pieces of paper that have one word on it that describe who he is. Just a way to celebrate his character and who he is. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life. This is The Dani Johnson Show. Did you know you can take The Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success. Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success. Helping you become all you were meant to be. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Well, as you can see, there's various different opinions about that day, Valentine's Day. But here's what I know. You know, all of us need work in this area, every single one of us. And if we are not continuously investing into our marriages, into our love relationships, those things are going to dwindle and die. There's something I say often at First Steps to Success, and that is that what you focus on will flourish, but what you neglect will die. How much and what have you done lately to invest into the most important relationship that you have if you're married or if you're in a committed relationship with another person? How many books have you read about it? Have you Googled even ideas of what you can do for Valentine's Day and like skip all of the advertisements of the junk that they want to sell you to make the day special? You know, it says that the thought that counts, right? Well, oftentimes we don't put much thought into expressing love. We rather buy love with gifts instead of expressing love through identifying what really matters to that person. Well, friend, join me tonight. Today's February 5th. It's Monday night. There's going to be a webinar concerning love and the love relationship between a couple. So we're going to be doing a marriage webinar tonight at 7 o'clock. It's free. So join me as well as many others who are going to be sharing some tips, some ideas about how to keep that relationship strong, moving forward. Get a rekindling in that relationship. I know that you didn't get married to have a boring marriage. You didn't get married to have an okay marriage. You wanted something that was special, something that was unique. And the only way to get that is to make sure that you're keeping focused on it and that you're learning new strategies to keep it hot, fresh, sexy, and wonderful. Not only that, but ways to handle the conflicts that simply arise just from two opposite people living together. Just kind of like at work, the same thing happens. So you're going to learn some amazing things tonight that is going to help to improve your relationship with the person that you love. Even if you think it's over, even if you think there's no hope, even if you think that there's just too much pressure, there's too much water under the bridge, come on, join us tonight. It's going to make a difference. You'll at least just go, wow, that's how we got there. So go to DaniJohnson.com. That's DANI Johnson.com. Click on events. That events tab has the information for tonight's webinar. The registration is open right now. It's only been open for a couple of days. This is it. This is the final hour. We're allowing just a few more people into that webinar tonight. February 5th, 7 p.m. It's a live webinar. You and me are going to be together tonight talking more about how do we keep that marriage hot versus boring versus average. What are some strategies that can help bring pressure off of it? What are some good communication skills? What can we do to help improve that communication, to stop butting heads, to clear up some of this contention? And then, of course, there is the conversation about sex. Sex is a very important part of marriage, and if you've got a sexless marriage, well, you might want to join us tonight. Again, it's a free webinar, DaniJohnson.com. And by the way, this webinar, this show today, you never know. Somebody needs a tip or two on how to be able to have a great week for Valentine's week. Send this video to some friends. Thanks so much for joining us. God bless, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DaniJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been The Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.